Everyone's addicted to something right now. And it's not just about alcohol or drugs, it's everywhere. Even coffee is an addiction at this point. That's my addiction. But even so, the craziest addiction by far, without a doubt, is the phone addiction. You know it's bad when even grandmas are addicted to that shit. We need to be stimulated 24/7. We can't even take a shit without watching something and then end up spending 30 minutes on the toilet for a 5 minute job. It's like, why do we scroll when we eat, scroll when we talk, scroll in the sheets before we even walk? Now, the truth is, phones are absolutely necessary. They're kind of magical if you think about it. Do you need directions? Google Maps. Need therapy? TikTok comments. Need love? Swipe left. Need validation? Story post. You can text your boss, book a ride, order a burrito, and lose a friend in a group chat. They're everything. Pocket sized supercomputers that help us work, connect, cope, escape. So, of course, we use them all the time. But phone addiction is making us more anxious, more distracted. We're losing real connection. People go to dinner together and then talk to three other people who aren't even there. We're not hanging out. Sometimes we just parallel scroll in the same room. People are losing touch with reality and gaining 37% screen time arguing with teenagers named Dark Slayer 420. The problem is most advice on the internet is so unreasonable to keep up with, and if you do follow it, it still doesn't work. Turn your phone grayscale. But guess what? Now you're just addicted in black and white. Delete all your apps. Only to watch reels on Safari and download the app 3 hours later. Or put it in another room until you got up and visited your phone and thought, let me just check one notification. So, what can you actually do to quit your phone addiction other than leave society and join a monastery? You need to admit you're addicted. Not in a jokey way to your friend like, bro, I'd die without my phone, while you scroll through memes as they're having an emotional breakdown, but actually sit down and say it. This thing has control over me. Because if you keep pretending like you're chill about it, you'll stay in denial. Until you admit the phone has power over you, you won't be serious about taking that power back. Step 2. For months, I was addicted to Netflix on my phone to fall asleep. Like some people take melatonin or chamomile tea, I needed crime dramas, preferably with British accents. So every night I tell myself, just one episode helps me wind down, right? Next thing you know, it's 2:30 a.m., someone just got murdered, and I'm wide awake trying to find the criminal for them. So the issue is that most people just try to stop an addiction. But the addiction, the scroll will replace something else in your life. Boredom, anxiety, loneliness. It's about avoidance, avoiding the silence, discomfort, avoiding that sinking feeling when you're finally alone with your thoughts. So if you don't fill that gap, the phone will come right back. Because you're in a toxic relationship with a glowing rectangle, and the rectangle is winning. So for me, I was avoiding overthinking, and I'd put on Netflix to stop my brain from all the thoughts. Because addiction is a dopamine game. Your brain gets a dopamine when you do something pleasurable. Like food is equal to dopamine. Video games? Dopamine. Phone scrolls with quick hits of novelty, validation, or drama? Big dopamine. But here's the catch. What goes up must come down. After a dopamine spike, your brain crashes below baseline. That's why after binge scrolling, you feel drained, bored, and a little empty. It's almost like post-nut clarity. And that pain of emptiness, that crash, your brain wants to avoid it. So it craves another scroll to bring the dopamine back up. And phones are especially dangerous because they offer infinite dopamine anywhere, anytime. So the solution is to start replacing scroll time with something else that still gives you dopamine, just slower. Reading, drawing, stretching. What's even a level higher is dopamine stacking. Go on a walk while you listen to a podcast. Call a friend while cleaning. Do something that gives you compound dopamine without frying your brain. Replacing the addiction, not just stopping it. Step 3. However, simply just replacing the phone addiction with something else may not be enough. Sometimes your addiction is so strong that reading or going to the gym simply can't replace it. Like you ever eat a healthy meal, feel proud, then do a 3-hour scroll to ruin it? And that is because of a lack of purpose. One reason you scroll is because you have nothing else exciting pulling your attention. If you have no vision, no mission, you have no fire. The scroll wins when your life feels dull. So make it feel not dull. Give yourself an obsession. Set a challenge for your health. Start a side project for your passion. Join a cult that sells protein powder. I don't know, start a YouTube channel for getting potentially rich later with a wrong spelling. Like, I'm not exactly winning in life right now, financially. I'm trying to build this channel, and it matters to me because I also don't have many months right now to survive. I have like 6 months of financial runway left. So if this doesn't work, it's not just, aw, that sucks. It's, I guess I'll be homeless with great thumbnails. But ironically, that gives me a drive and focus and allows me to naturally stay away from using the phone too much. Because I know clearly, in order to win, I just need to spend more hours on this craft and not on the phone. When you're locked in on something meaningful, the phone starts to feel like a distraction that's stealing life instead of a reward. It's like, at least when you're crying on the gym floor, you're technically multitasking in the right direction. Step 4. There are going to be days when we feel naturally worse than others, or have less sleep and lower willpower, or desperate because we haven't gotten laid in a while. And those days, of course, will want something that makes us feel better fast and easily. And that is why most of us don't scroll because we're lazy. We scroll because of an emotional trigger, feeling anxious, or lonely, or sad, or bored, or tired, or overwhelmed. That's when the phone starts whispering, hey, what if we just checked one reel and ruined the next 2 hours of your life? So watch for those triggers and slowly set up different activities to cope with them. Now, instead of going to Netflix on my phone at night, what I do is call someone. I read or make notes in a journal for planning my future and the next day. Sometimes I just write and repeat certain thoughts that I know I need to work on. And at some point, I ended up gathering so many activities before bed as options that I can't even remember the last time I had the opportunity to watch Netflix before sleeping. I think I miss it sometimes because I really have some anime I need to catch up on. Step 5. Make it annoying to use. Don't rely on willpower. Design your environment. Add on extra layers of difficulty to make it hard to do. Here are some ideas to create fiction that I've done for myself. 1. Move your most addictive apps off your home screen. Put that shit in a folder. Name the folder something gross like taxes or ex's wedding pics. You know, the girl who said she'd die if you broke up with her. Like, girl, you lied. You're supposed to be dead right now. How are you married? But the point is, just make your brain do one extra step before it gets its dopamine fix. This gives your frontal lobe a small chance to whisper, do we really need to check Insta at this exact moment? Or are we just lonely and having withdrawals about our ex again? 2. Use screen time or app blockers. So yes, some days you might ignore the limit. But if there are some days you allow the limit to stay, it's a win. Count it. 3. Buy a physical alarm clock so your phone's not next to your forehead. I actually use an older phone that has no social media apps, just an alarm and browser so I can look things up when reading or something. I mean, it's hard to doom scroll on a phone where you feel like your grandma trying to use WhatsApp. 4. Make self rules and allowances to use the phone. Here's what I've learned. If your brain feels like there's no deadline, no off switch, no permission to enjoy something later, it will rebel and create them now. That's just how we're wired. For example, like when I was cutting down to 7% body fat a few years ago, my trainer, a national level bodybuilding coach, had me on this intense carb cycling plan. He was like, Ernie, no carbs for 6 days straight. Your boy was eating the same meals, lettuce, tomatoes, tofu, and sadness every day. Yeah, I'm vegetarian. And then once a week, he gave me a cheat day. But to his credit, this was a real cheat day. I'm talking 10,000 calories in 24 hours. Pancakes, pizza, Cinnabon. Those were my first victims. I was out there eating like I just got out of prison. But here's the weird part, it actually worked. Because knowing I could eat junk on Sunday helped me stay disciplined Monday through Saturday. My brain didn't panic. It wasn't like this is forever. It was like, hold on, just a few more days. And that's the point. Your brain can endure hard things as long as it knows there's a break coming. So you don't need to ban the phone entirely like it's evil. That's how you end up secretly scrolling in the bathroom like a guilty raccoon. Instead, you just need to set clear self rules. When it is okay to use the phone? Where is it off limits? When can you go on Reels and for how long? And chat with friends. Because that's also part of life. You don't want to be that guy on the table who knows nothing about what's happening in the outside world, like the memes, AI girlfriends, whatever Jake Paul is doing now. So give your brain permission for later, or it'll take permission right now and pretend it was your idea. Now, dropping an addiction is basically taking away a habit, but that can be completely different than adding on a new discipline. And the way most people try to do it is completely backwards.